Hello, I'm Yoko, and welcome back to year 19 of GalaxyClan. And this year was wild, with way too many things happening. Also, sorry for the delay on this year, I needed the extra time after I got sick. The upload schedule might be changing to the first Sunday of the month, but we'll see. That depends on how big next year is. Also, happy Pride Month! I am planning on making some Galaxy Pride themed stickers for the Redbubble later. We'll see how many designs I end up actually getting done. But that being said, there was like 5 distinct different things that have an animatic section throughout the year, and I made a poll that decided that you guys are going to get them in sections as we go through StarClan, so that way it can fit more into a timeline. That being said, blood warning for most of them, and let's get into the first event that happened on the 3rd moon of the year. Flamebear stood with a paw hovering over the deathberries. He was brought out of his trance when a cat coldly called his name. Dreamsmoke growled in anger. With just this scene, he was convinced Flamebear killed his mate. Dreamsmoke leapt at his father, yowling in fury, but Flamebear overpowered and pushed him down. Fear seeped in as Dreamsmoke saw the deathberries and his mouth was forced to stay open by the larger cat. Flamebear forced Dreamsmoke to eat the deathberries with his son biting his paw in the only retaliation he could do. Once Dreamsmoke was still, Flamebear walked nearby where a stream flowed. Flamebear stared numbly at the deathberry's juices and his blood flowing in the water. Springhaze arrived at the scene and was furious at seeing Dreamsmoke's body. Springhaze quickly pinned Flamebear against the edge of the cliff, yelling that Flamebear is disgusting and kin means nothing to him. Springhaze declared that he should push Flamebear off this cliff right now, asking if he had any last words. Flamebear struggled against his grip until he noticed something. Suddenly yelling for help and saying Springhaze was a traitor and a mass killer. A very shocked Springhaze was pulled off of Flamebear by Hollowstar, and before he could even say anything, Hollowstar threw him off the cliff. The last thing Springhaze saw was Hollowstar and Flamebear looking down at him before everything went black and the river below flowed red. So we have more stuff to get to later, but for now, the first cat in StarClan is sadly Dreamsmoke this year. He died at 37 moons old and he was fed deathberries by his own dad. Though Flamebear has stripped all right to be called that away from himself. Dreamsmoke hadn't done much before the confrontation, mostly tagging along with his son's various patrols. Being a little bit clingy, but can you blame him? His wife was just murdered. I feel so bad for his kits after this, both of their parents were murdered, but we'll get to them later. For now, Springhaze was also murdered on the same moon that Dreamsmoke was, but by Hollowstar this time. So these events just had to be connected. Springhaze died at 51 moons old, and the moon before that he actually had a status about trying to convince Gustkit to run away with him, which I read as he found out about Gustkit's involvement, at least. Not sure about Micah Kit, and he was trying to get her to ask Hollowstar if Springhaze could mentor her, and then he would find somewhere that she could get away from Flamebear until he was dealt with. Sadly, Springhaze was killed on the very same moon that she became an apprentice, but right before that. And because of Flamebear, Springhaze took the blame for being the murderer in the clan's eyes. With Hollowstar's outburst about Springhaze in the Dark Forest last year, it just kinda seemed to make sense. Springhaze still tried to help Ospreyclaw in the afterlife, but she called him a mousebrain and chased him out of the Dark Forest when he tried to find her there. Ospreyclaw is kind of feeling a lot of guilt right now since she thinks she got another one of her siblings killed, and for another reason we'll get to later. But unrelated to any of this, the Dark Forest was a bit busy later in the year, so time for an animatic section 2. The Dark Forest was a bit busy later in the year, so time for animatic section 2. Again, blood warning. Silkfur finished telling a plan to the one cat he managed to keep as a trainee. Frostlycan called Silkfur crazy and started shaking a bit, saying that he can't be near fire. Not ever again. He was burned in the past. He doesn't want to be near fire. Silkfur got mad and said that he's been burned too and Frostlycan is a coward. He also yelled that after all this training, Frostlycan doesn't have the right to say no to him, threatening Frostlycan that he'd get Hollowstar to find out somehow about all of this if he refused. A little while later, Hopefern was moping a bit in the Dark Forest when she suddenly shot up at a familiar scent, seeing Silkfur quickly run by, bringing green flames with him. The sight quickly flashed back to her kit hood, and Hopefern was frozen in time, while Silkfur was long gone, leaving a trail of flames behind. Those flames made it all the way to ViperClan's section of the Dark Forest, surprising the cats that were there. Snipcloud was angered as he was unexpectedly pinned, and he looked up to see Silkfur. Silkfur laughed maniacally and taunted Snipcloud, saying that Mintsplash will be avenged now, beginning to start a speech, until Frostlycan cried out that he's taking too long, what are you doing? And Snipcloud was taken aback when he realized the cat pinning him down was shaking and crying. A battle cry from a furious Butterfly Paw was heard, and ViperClan warriors began charging at the cats at full force. Snipcloud was quickly freed and watched the pile of cats in surprise. Butterfly Paw huffing at the stupidity of the cats, reassuring that ViperClan is safe, and no one will ever hurt Snipcloud if he stays here. Pikeflex smiled and ran up with blood dripping down his muzzle, and Snipcloud felt uneasy, wondering if this is how Fernheart felt when she saw him. So, Frostlycan was killed at 58 moons old, and he's in the Dark Forest, but he's a big contender for redemption. He's mostly only here due to himself believing that he deserves it. Frostlycan was used and abused by Silkfur, and I feel so bad. His fear of fire was ignored, and he was threatened into complying with a dumb plan, where both cats ended up dying. Silkfur is double dead and faded now. That was the last we'll ever be seeing of him. And Frostlycan just wanted to prove himself worthy of being a strong warrior for his clan, and he kinda just fell down a rabbit hole. Silkfur had also told Frostlycan that he would tell him who really killed Cavern Bounce if he helped. Frostlycan was surprised to hear that it was someone other than Springhaze. And Frostlycan feels really guilty because he was actually cheating on Cavern Bounce back when they were together. Earlier this year, a cat named Jaffa in Moss Clan had a status of being seen touching noses with a GalaxyClan cat. And she was the cat that Frostlycan was secretly meeting last year. Polly probably would have been fine if there was communication, but considering Cavern Bounce was fighting with Frostlycan last year, I do not think that was properly discussed. The clan was surprised to wake up to Frostlycan dying in his nest, and many cats panicked, wondering what just happened. But Hollowstar coldly just said that he must have died from wounds from his dreams in the Dark Forest. And if Frostlycan was foolish enough to ignore his orders of staying out of there, then he would not mourn a traitor. In the end, Frostlycan is a mess, and I do feel really bad for him. He made some mistakes, but I don't think it should have ended like this or have been Dark Forest worthy. Again, he's mostly here because he thinks he belongs here. But we have another animatic section now, and this is an event from the beginning of Leaf Bear, so let's get into that. Blood warning again. Snake Eye found herself to be opening her eyes to be faced with unexpected cats. 4 cats stood staring at her with either angered or upset expressions. The only cat that Snake Eye knew by name was Lightning Flight, and she asked what was going on. Soon after, Gusper shot awake from another nightmare and soon heard Snake Eye, who was running out of the medicine cat den yelling that no one was to eat the prey. Snake Eye stood in the middle of camp and declared that Flame Bear was a lying murderer and he needed to be stopped now. Flame Bear tried to ask what Snake Eye was talking about, his heartbeat rising as clanmates slowly gathered around him. Suddenly, Pebblepaw burst out that Flame Bear was a monster and he made Gusburst kill Echo Lily, with her sister stuttering out in fear behind her. Swansong grew angry hearing that she killed his mother and yelled, "What was she thinking?" Micah Shatter cut in and reminded him that Gusburst was a kit when that happened, and obviously she's terrified right now, emphasizing that Pebblepaw said that Flame Bear made her do it. Gold Dazzle held her shaking kit as Fuzzy Flake glared at the medicine cat, coldly stating that not only did he make his kit do something horrible, Flame Bear had the clan thinking Springhaze was a killer for moons. Lizard Stop was furious, with Stonefawn and Ghost Snow stood shocked behind her. Stonefawn just asked quietly, what did Cavern Bounce or Echo Lily ever do to him? Thunder Spirit couldn't say anything as the clan spat out other names. What about Pond? Was the tainted prey Flame Bear's doing? Flame Bear's patients did have a high death rate after all. Flame Bear's blood ran cold as he saw a familiar sight. The furious stare of Hollowstar. It reminded him of the anger the leader screamed with after his leadership ceremony. Flame Bear went to make a run for it, but Swansong blocked his path. Hollowstar ordered Whisker Gleam to pin Flame Bear down, and she was nervous knowing where this was going, but she obeyed her leader. Flame Bear was held down and looked up terrified as Hollowstar brought his claws down towards him. Eventually, Flame Bear laid still, blood filling one of the cave's shallow rivers. Hollowstar briefly scented Freckle-Spot next to him, and he ignored Hilfuzz trying to talk to him as he walked into his den, ordering everyone to leave him alone and to get rid of the body. So surprising no one, Flamebear is now in the Dark Forest, having been killed at 92 moons old. And going back in time, he killed his son earlier this year with deathberries and framed Springhaze for all of his crimes. Flamebear went on a long walk deep in thought after that, and then he was concerned if Snake Eye was sent prophecies. He was then talking to himself and was also interested in getting to know Pebblepaw, being a bit suspicious that she might know something. And I had been checking on his family and victims in StarClan to see if anyone was thinking anything related to him last year and this year. Gardenia Claw had been watching Flamebear live the life that she should have had, which I interpreted as anger that he was using his life to cause so much pain. Why was he the one that got to live when this is what he was doing with it? Perch Freckle had the status of being disappointed in him, and Follow Dapple had one that she saw his future demise. Lightning Flight specifically had the status of sending the omen to Snake Eye, which led to him being revealed. Flamebear hurt so many cats, and he's all alone in the Dark Forest now. Butterfly Paw wants nothing to do with him. She only did the initial convincing as a favor for Freckle Spot. But yeah, goodbye Flamebear. Also, Butterfly Catcher in StarClan never had any statuses about her son, or Sleek Clove about his mate, so there's that. And before the next animatic section, we need to take a detour to StarClan. Because Thunder Spirit died 2 moons after Flamebear was killed at 131 moons old. Earlier in the year, they were actually grateful to Flamebear for his treatment, and they did continue to try to mediate between their son and some other cats. Thunder Spirit mistakenly took Osprey Claw's warning from last year to have been about Springhaze and fully believed that their grandson was sadly the killer. It seemed to affect them a lot, and it was even worse when Flamebear was actually revealed. They seemed to be depending on Kale for support a lot, and the two never became mates in-game, but I do think at some point they had started a QPR, queer platonic relationship. But with all that said, Thunder Spirit was murdered! Yeah! Someone pushed them off a cliff, and we'll get into who did that later. Can these cats please stop pushing each other off of cliffs? And no more murder in general? Can the clan just rest? Also, side note, why do so many of our mediators get straight up murdered? Dark Whistle was killed by Viper Clan, Hopefern wasn't a mediator anymore, but she was killed by rogues, Pond was murdered by Flamebear/Micah Kit, and now Thunder Spirit was killed. But for now, let's just get into the last section of Animatic, which takes place on the very last moon of the year. Also, you're going to see some clanmates that you haven't met before in this. Also, big blood warning. Hollowstar woke from sleep, shocked at the sound of running. He called a warning, but rogues were already swarming the cave, and everything happened so fast. Cartfluff didn't stand a chance as they outnumbered him. Spam winced at their large wound, leaning on the crystals as she made her way away from the rogue she killed, and towards the medicine den. Kale dragged a rogue away from the young warrior Hop, who was terrified in the corner. Rushman was confused as a rogue looked at her and called out that she found one of them, and that this cat was not to be hurt. Meanwhile, Wigglebutt and Little Lion stood faced against a rogue. Wigglebutt took a deadly hit as Little Lion cried out. Rogues were invading the nursery with the angry parents standing their ground. A rogue got the best of Hilfuzz, pinning Snow down and snarling about how horrible it would be to kill a cat in front of their kits. Lizard Snap was left unable to open her eyes as blood flowed over them. Hollowstar blocked the rogue from going for another deadlier hit, and the rogue smiled widely and shouted that the main target was found. Hollowstar was backed against the cave wall as rogues surrounded him. By the time the rogues were done, he laid completely still, having lost the rest of his lives. Stonefawn stood shocked as the clan shouted around her. Everything was muffled a bit, but she heard cats were dead, the rogues all ran away, and a kit was missing. She took a deep breath, and then she quickly ordered all injured cats were to see Snake Eye. Anyone with basic medical knowledge was to help the medicine cat. Splitting the rest of the healthy cats in 2 groups, one to defend the camp, she sent the others to go chase after the rogues to find the missing kit. Lizard Snap tried to hide her pain and gave her mate a shaky smile, saying she should go get her 9 lives. The sooner the better in this situation. Ghost Snow reassured Stonefawn that he would watch over Lizard Snap and the clan, adding that she wouldn't be going far. Stonefawn was nervous as she sat in the leader's den. She's heard that all the crystals in the cave can be used to speak to StarClan when necessary, but she didn't have Snake Eye to guide her. Taking a breath, she closed her eyes and touched her nose to the crystal. She was amazed at the view when she opened her eyes, having never seen anything StarClan related before herself. Springhaze walked up first, Stonefawn feeling guilty she ever believed in Flamebear's lies about him. He quickly stepped forward and gave her a life for fair judgment, urging her not to be impulsive. Dreamsmoke walked up next, with a concerned expression. He leaned up and gave her a life for justice, saying it will be hard, but she must be willing to deal with problems within the clan impartially. Stonefawn's past apprentice Smallrush ran up excitedly, quickly giving Stonefawn a life for bravery. Never be afraid to protect someone. Stonefawn smiled seeing Cinderpetal walk up, her old elder friend looking much younger than she ever knew him. He gave her a life for resilience, giving her strength to face upcoming challenges. Stonefawn was happy seeing her mother, Emerald Jumble, walk up, smiling widely at her. Emerald Jumble directed her attention downwards towards her brother Troutkit, saying that he didn't have a life for her, but he did tag along. She then gave Stonefawn a life for confidence, saying that she needs more of it and she's earned it by now, assuring her that she's doing great. Stonefawn started tearing up at the sight of the next cats. Her kits, Echo Lily and Cavern Bounce, smiled back at her. Cavern Bounce gave her a life for determination and stepped aside for Echo Lily to give her a life for pride, saying that they're proud to have Stonefawn as a mother. Beetlebite walked forward next, and Stonefawn embraced him with tears in her eyes. He gave her a life for love, wishing that he could still be there alongside Lizard Snap, but smiling and saying that he's excited to see their future. Stonefawn is a bit surprised as the last cat walks up. Brightstar has a cautious look, as if he's looking out for something beyond her. He says Holostar cannot make it here, and he gives Stonefawn a life for trust, saying not to make his and Holostar's mistakes. She is not alone in her fights. And now going back in time a bit, so rogues attacked camp, and the newly named Cartfluff was the first cat killed at only 18 moons old. And real quick, so I actually did have a rogues mass extinction event trigger in-game, but then my game crashed immediately before I saw who died. So to make it as fair as I could, I made a rogue side generator to still have rogues kill some cats in the clan. Also, all the rogues are OC cameos from the Discord. Don't be too mean to any specific cats, and also I'm sorry if your OC killed a cat that you loved. Back to Cartfluff, he grew to be a strict fast runner, and back when he was apprentice, he thought that he was meant for something greater, and was also eavesdropping on Springhaze, the moon that he was trying to get Guskit to run away, sadly not hearing everything, making it easier for the cat to convince himself that Springhaze had been the killer for both of his parents. He later made Swanpaw laugh at the expense of himself and always seemed to look out for his brother. Cartfluff was honored for his exemplar when he was given his name, and he hoped that Echo Lily and Dreamsmoke were watching. I'm so sad to lose this guy. His brother kind of really needs him right now, but we'll get to Swan later. Cartfluff's former mentor Wigglebutt was also killed by rogues this year at 99 moons old. She was defending Little Lion and took a hard blow. Earlier in the year, she had been strutting around confidently, and she was seen calmly talking to a Moss Clan cat, which fits in well with the fact that during the Moss Clan stream, a cat named Figaro was touching noses with a GalaxyClan cat. Side note, our cats are all in love with Moss Clan cats this year, I swear. Though sadly due to Wigglebutt's death, that side romance won't be going anywhere. I have seen some people on the Discord wondering if Figaro was the other parent to the kits that Wigglebutt brought. So there's that. She honestly didn't do much beyond that though, but I'm gonna miss her. Hillfuzz was also killed by rogues at 143 moons old, and this is where I outright say that this was a revenge run on the rogues' end. They have been watching us, and while I'm not actually making a real group of rogues because I do like doing the OC cameos and giving you guys chances to make some sort of appearance in GalaxyClan canon, pretend that the rogues have been consistently the same group that Shine was originally part of. That being said, Hillfuzz was specifically targeted as revenge for Holostar killing Shine and stealing her kits, Micah Kit and Rush Kit. But going back in time before the rogue attack, Hillfuzz actually almost got attacked by a dog, but Oopsie Daisy saved Fuzz. Hillfuzz also had the status of being in quite the moon that Flamebear was killed, and it seems that Snow was getting annoyed at Holostar's rashness and the fact that he wasn't listening to Fuzz. This was extra bad considering Hillfuzz was expecting kits at the time. And I think the two might have been on the way towards a breakup, honestly. They had one last kit and stayed happy around her, but things seemed pretty tense outside of that. And Hilfuz did have a small but growing dislike towards Holostar. But yeah, I'm sad to see that Fuzz went out like this, but we do have one last detour before we can go to the living cats. Holostar is in the Dark Forest after punishing cats for even mentioning it. He actually rolled the worst option on the generator in the rogue attack and did indeed lose all 5 lives. And honestly, kind of poetic but sad in the end for him. To recap some of Holostar's bad/questionable actions, he accidentally got Brightstar killed, he killed Silkfur, exiled Snipcloud and left in the Freckle Spot's manipulation, slashed Hopefern when she was revealed as a killer, killed Shine in front of her kits and then stole them, attacked Springhaze when he tried to talk to him about the Dark Forest and then later killed him, didn't investigate Frostlycan's death, and then executed Flamebear publicly. Yeah, this man kind of doomed himself. After murdering Springhaze, he was worried that others were judging him and seemed kind of paranoid of his clan. He was also straight up encouraging warriors to go destroy another clan's herb supplies like right before he died. And I don't think they did that, but it's a good thing we didn't because that's horrible and I don't know which clan he was referring to, but I know we're on bad terms with J-Clan at least right now because one of our warriors actually killed a J-Clan cat. It wasn't Holostar, but you'll see who did that later. But yeah, Holostar was shutting everyone out towards the end of the year, and I want to point out that he killed Flamebear without even knowing that his daughter was involved. But yeah, he just died, so I haven't seen any statuses of Dark Forest Holostar for year 19. But I imagine he's on the hunt for Frecklespot at least. She's been taunting him and made Holostar look more unhinged when he verbally snapped at the new deputy of Viper Clan. But we'll talk a little bit more about why he did that at the very end of the video in the other clan section. But yeah, Holostar left behind a giant mess that Stone Star is now stuck with. Speaking of, we do indeed have Stone Star now. She's 86 moons old and she literally just became leader in-game. Like, I needed to time skip a moon into year 20 to find out who was the deputy now. And her deputy isn't her mate Lizard Snap like I was kind of expecting it to be. But she did just get blinded in the rogue attack and needs some time to adjust to things. I will say at least Holostar saved Lizard Snap before he died, so there's one good thing he did. Lizard Snap also had an apprentice earlier on in the year, and she had a good time training them. This year was rough on this couple with the truth of the murders coming to light, and sad fact time, Stonefawn had been one of the few cats in clan to have mutual positive relationships with Flamebear. She was too much of a sweetheart, I swear. So it was very painful hearing the truth of Echo Lily and Cavern Bounce's murder come out. Neither Stone Star or Lizard Snap feel anger towards Gustburst, and they understand that she was just a scared kit. And after Flamebear's murder, they thought things would be calmer, and this is where I remind you that I play 2 moons ahead in-game in case any gay couples adopt kits. Since in-universe, that means a surrogate or a donor is involved, and they should know kits are coming. So shockingly, I will reveal the fact that Stone Star and Lizard Snap have kits in 2 moons, and that means that Stone Star was expecting when the rogue attack happened, and she had to become leader. So this probably isn't the best time for kits, but I wish the 2 luck. I will say the donor is a kitty pet named Shy, but you guys will meet this litter next year. Stone Star has so much to deal with right now, not even counting the other clans. This poor girl, but on to who was chosen as deputy. It seems Stone Star is a little bit biased because she made her son, the 49-moon-old Ghost Snow, deputy. I personally think he's a good choice, and he did get an apprentice this year to be eligible, but in the end, this is Stone Star's own son, and some cats may side-eye him. But I think Ghost Snow did a great job training and encouraging his apprentice. He also had a status about how he would follow his clanmates to the ends of the earth, and he's so loyal and nice, and I'm happy that he's getting some happy things after all the tragedy. Also, he has a connection to StarClan trait, and this is where I reveal a fun fact that I've been waiting to say. Cats with strong connections to StarClan will be able to glimpse parts of leadership ceremonies in the crystals of the cave as it's happening. Just some quick flashes here and there, but I love that Ghost Snow has this trait, because that means he probably got to see his dad and his siblings. while he was watching over his Mama Lizard Snap getting looked over by Snake Eye. And I'm excited for Big Brother Ghost Snow, and I'm interested to see how he'll do as deputy. But for now, Medicine Cat time. Now that Flame Bear is dead, the 73-moon-old Snake Eye is now the head Medicine Cat. She was finally told the truth by Flame Bear's family, and I'm happy. She's just been trying to live her best life, and she wasn't taking any chances when she found out about the truth, making sure to be in the center of camp and not alone with Flame Bear when she confronted him. I don't think she wanted him murdered straight up in the camp, but she had to make the clan safer, especially considering the fact that she was a mother now. Her and Firefog have one kit, with Firefog currently taking over Den Dad duties as Snake Eye has the important job of being the head Medicine Cat. Also, since Snake Eye is a trans girl, they did have a kitty pet surrogate named Short Help, and I flipped a coin and Short is related to Firefog, most likely a sister, and she was happy to surrogate for them. I did this so I could mix and match their traits still. That way the Snake Eye traits and the Firefog family traits could actually combine. That being said, Snake Eye is kind of terrified considering rogues just attacked and kidnapped a kit, and she wishes she could have more free time to just relax with her family. Also, I didn't have the time to put this in the animatic, but Snake Eye saved Petal insert suffix from a rogue during the attack. Also, I did reveal like a ton of cats' full names in the animatic. Pebble was not one of them, so you'll get to see that later. But Snake Eye does have an apprentice currently who's a new face in clan. Meet the 28-moon-old Todd Paw, technically, who is thoughtful, a great mediator, and very clever. Okay, so in-game, I will say she's just Todd, and she won't be getting a suffix later. And she is a full medicine cat in-game, but lore-wise, I'm saying she's an apprentice and is kind of on a trial run, where Snake Eye is watching her closely, considering both the Flame Bear situation and Todd's own backstory makes new medicine cats scary. Okay, so Todd joined the moon before the rogue attack happened during a patrol that said a loner wanted to join offering healing skills. But her backstory says that she is a former rogue, which is extremely suspicious considering what just happened. So I added some stuff on the generator to determine if I was bending the timeline slightly, and I am. So I'm saying Todd joined after the rogue attack and she brought back the kit that the rogue stole, asking for forgiveness and to join the clan. So Todd was involved with the raid, but she didn't kill anyone, and she came back to join later, where she was interested in learning to be a medicine cat, being tired from being in a group that hurts others so much. Also, she's a lot younger than the other clan's medicine cats who used to be rogues, so I don't think she's part of the same group as them. I really do think that she's just in a different rogue group and decided being a medicine cat looked fun. But yeah, since in-universe I said she hasn't earned being full medicine cat status, she hasn't gotten her medicine cat accessory. So if you do have any suggestions, let me know below. But for now, on to our only mediator. Kale, who only stepped up to help Thunder Spirit, is now the only mediator at 135 moons old. And she's distressed at the death of Thunder Spirit, and at this point in time, their death is believed to either be from rogues or a J-Clan cat, since they are very angry at us right now. Kale had some failed mediating with J-Clan after the incident, and they're kind of struggling. He did solve some herb gathering disputes and also managed to save a young warrior from a rogue during the battle, which was cool to see. Love seeing Kale still has some fight to them. Like I said, I do think Kale and Thunder Spirit had been in a QPR before their death, but Kale does still seem to have a mutual crush on Oopsie Daisy, though it is still pretty small on Kale's side. I hope Kale gets an apprentice soon, but yeah, that's pretty much it for now. On to our warriors. First up is the 107 moon-old Whisker Gleam, who has let out 2 large dogs, 1 small dog, a trespassing rogue, and killed a snake before it could bite someone this year. This girl is a powerhouse. And on the moon that Flame Bear was killed, her status was that she followed her leader's orders despite her own doubts. So she had to hold down Flame Bear for Hollow Star. She's loyal and wasn't able to say no, but that wasn't something that she wanted to do, and it seems to be upsetting her a bit. She's been a bit down lately. She does still like Branch Dare, who she's noticed is doing better this year and is happy to see it, but neither of them have made a move. I am happy to see her making a name for herself in clan with her skills, and she seems really relieved at Stone Star taking charge, hoping for less bloodshed in clan now. Moving on to Oopsie Daisy, who is now 104 moons old. She had a less successful year than Whisker Gleam. She did save Hillfuzz from a large dog, but she was injured in the process. And then later she got hurt fighting a dog again. So this girl really needs to stay away from the dogs. Oopsie daisy, please, you can't oopsie daisy your way out of a dog attack. I will say she has a small crush on both Whisker Gleam and Lizard Snap, but her crush on Kale is really big and just growing bigger and bigger by the day. I'm fully expecting her to ask them out at some point soon, and whether that ends up with rejection or becoming mates, we'll see. I am happy that she didn't immediately ask after Thunder Spirit died though, so there's that. But yeah, besides the dogs, Oopsie Daisy has mostly just been hunting and chilling this year, trying to avoid all of the clan drama. Moving on to the 100 Moon Old Branch Deer. He is such a dad this year. He's been visiting his daughter in the medicine den, offering help where he can, and also spoiling his grandkit. And Branch Deer is actually getting a small group of younger warriors that kind of love him. He's such a clan dad, and it's adorable to me. He's really close to Midnight Lilac, Abyss Watcher, another apprentice that he had this year because Holostar kept giving this man children. And Branch Deer also found an injured 12 Moon Old cat who he brought back to camp and is close to them too. This is so cute to me. He did have to break up a sibling argument on patrol between Abyss Watcher and Roostertail, but that went pretty smoothly. The youth really kind of seemed to respect him. Also, I haven't seen Hopefern mess with him or Whisker Gleam this year. She's kind of just been more to herself. But yeah, Branch Deer is doing pretty great right now, and I hope he stays that way. Next up is the 62 Moon Old Gold Dazzle and the 60 Moon Old Fuzzy Flake. Let's start with Gold Dazzle. She got one of her kits as an apprentice, and I'm gonna be honest, wasn't the best at not enabling bad behavior. I think the shameless trait was kicking in a bit. They may or may not have stolen prey from Viper Clan. Twice. Gold Dazzle also had a suggestion for Holostar in the moon that he killed Flamebear, but considering he wanted to be alone, that never got voiced. I'm thinking it probably had to do something with her kit being a victim of Flamebear's manipulation. Both Fuzzy Flake and Gold Dazzle are very protective of Gust Burst right now, and feel awful that they didn't know something was wrong sooner. But speaking of Fuzzy Flake, he needed some time alone on the moon that his brother was killed and framed as a killer. Nothing felt right about it, and he was thinking back to seeing his sister in the Dark Forest. Spring Haze had actually led Fuzzy Flake to show up and help a cat on patrol who was almost killed by rogues. And while Fuzzy Flake didn't get answers, he did notice that Spring Haze looked starry, and nothing like Osprey Claw did that one time. Fuzzy Flake doesn't know why his sister is in the Dark Forest, but he always believed Spring Haze wasn't a killer, and he was furious at Flamebear for the damage he did to their family when everything came out, feeling sick at the fact that he let Spring Haze die in the same way their mom did. Despite everything, things seem to be calming down, and the last status that Fuzzy Flake had this year was that he was purring all night, so full of love for his fellow warriors, and I love this cat. He's so nice. But next up is a new face in clan. Meet the 60 Moon Old Troublesome Spam, who is a great teacher. She's a former loner who joined on a time skip, and she immediately caused some problems with putting a mark in the wrong place and also eating prey on patrol. She actually seems like she's become close friends with Lizard Snap, despite not exactly following the rules here. A more expected friendship she has is that she's pretty close with Scavenger. And during the rogue attack, she did end up killing a rogue that was trying to kill her. Though I didn't draw that because I'm not drawing someone's OC dying. Surprise, you guys are getting a cameo, your OC is dead. But yeah, the rogue did give her that huge scar. And side note, her side is the only scar that she actually has. The other patches are just that she's partially hairless. But yeah, Spam doesn't play around, and if a cat is trying to kill her, she can and will return the energy. Someone on the Discord said she gives Trailer Park stray cat energy, and I see that. Next up is the 53 Moon Old Guppy Shade, who came out as a trans girl this year, and I love that for her. She got another apprentice this year and did a good job training her. Guppy Shade is also a mom now. Scavenger is currently in the nursery with them, but Scavenger, oh boy. Guppy Shade is a little concerned with her right now, and she's standing by her mate, but she is hoping Scavenger does better. I'll go into more detail later, but just know that Scavenger almost died at one point, and also has been getting into trouble of her own. Guppy Shade is worried and doing her best with all the chaos going on. But for one trans cat to another trans cat, the 44 Moon Old Grushwin came out as gender fluid this year with fluctuating he, she, they pronouns, depending on the day and how they feel. And I saw it be suggested on the Discord that she uses her feathers as a guide for others as for what they're feeling that day. So blue is he, him, red is she, her, and I don't know what birds these came from, but cyan is they, them. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using she, they today for her. Beyond that though, Rushwind finished training Swan Paw this year and pulled the old "you gain strength when you claw to gather moss" technique to get him interested in the duty. She also gave Micah Paw advice this year, who had found out about Micah Kit 1 and asked how Rushwind felt about the whole thing. They told Micah Paw to be their own cat, and they think that they're a pretty great kid so far. Then during the rogue attack, Rushwind was surprised when a cat recognized her. The cat was trying to get them and Micah Kit to join where they were stolen from, but respected Rushwind's decision to decline, and Rushwind also did have to tell them that Micah Kit was dead. Rushwind was still blocked from joining the fight, and Rushwind feels a little weird at the death of Hollistar, and is hopeful that Stone Star will be better. Rushwind kinda just wants peace at this point. Next up, I'm happy to announce that the 38-moon-old Oriole Chirp and the 37-moon-old Midnight Lilac have jumped into their lives as mates without question or hesitation. But also, before they got together, both of these cats at separate times met with a Moss Clan cat at night for secret dates. Again, why is it always Moss Clan this year? And if you remember last year, the Moss Clan cat Bubbling Mark was quote-unquote rivals with Oriole Chirp. And basically, these three are involved in a secret cross-clan poly relationship with Bubbling Mark. And I have her coded into GalaxyClan as Lost to see if she wants to join the clan at some point, like I ended up doing with Snipcloud and Viper Clan. Not sure how I'm going to handle the Moss Clan stream next if she does end up joining. But yeah, beyond the secret meetings, Oriole Chirp was also seen touching noses with a Moss Clan cat, so these three are definitely together. Also, Midnight Lilac and Oriole Chirp may or may not have taunted Viper Clan at the border and then got lectured by Stonefawn. If anything, I'm kind of happy to see Midnight Lilac act a bit sassy instead of scared of his old clan. But yeah, I am very interested in this potential group of sneaky, semi-troublemaking polycats. And I'm gonna draw these two siblings together, so here's the 27-moon-old Abyss Watcher and Rooster Tail. And they just lost their mom Wigglebutt, so they're sticking a bit closer than usual. They had an argument earlier in the year, and they tend to butt heads a bit with their strong personalities, but they do love each other. Rooster Tail spoke out of turn at 2 different clan meetings, getting weird looks, and I'm interpreting that as he said something during a gathering when he wasn't supposed to. And despite him talking back to Hollistar when he was apprentice, he does have a lot of platonic love for the leader, and I can see him sticking up for him and speaking out of turn. However, I can also see him not being afraid to talk back to him still, and the second time he spoke out of turn was on the same moon that Flamebear was murdered. So I think he shouted back that he can't just keep doing this. Hollistar had a soft spot for the slightly bratty cat, and he was never punished for this. But as for Abyss Watcher, she chased a kitty pet off, and I said earlier that she's close to Branch Deer. She also actually has a really high dislike towards Scavenger, which I'm hoping Kale can help with. But on a less concerning note, she also seems to be teasing Rooster Tail now over a crush that he currently has, which is actually a new face in clan, the 21-moon-old Hop, who is responsible, a camp keeper, and a good hunter. He joined when he was only 12 moons old and was found with that tail injury by Branch Deer and his apprentice, and Hop joined the youth that look up to Branch Deer group. He's mostly just been trying to fit in and gets along great with the younger members of clan, returning the crush on Rooster Tail and also having a crush on another cat. Hop was a little overwhelmed at all the drama that happened, as soon as he joined, and he isn't the best fighter, but he's very thankful that Kale saved him during the rogue attack. Also not completely sure what caused the scar on his tail, but let me know if you guys have any ideas. But yeah, Hop is baby, I love him. Next up is the 18-moon-old newly named Swan Song, and I love his name. I love less that he ended up vengeful with a concerning addition of unusually strong fighter as his trait. He was busy this year, so going in order of events, his dad was murdered while he was still trying to get over the pain of his mom being murdered. His brother Cartpaw did keep his spirits up a bit, getting him the choke on his prey while laughing at jokes. Swan Song became a warrior early at 11 moons old and was named for his observance. He then survived an eagle attack and got scarred. He also angrily reprimanded a lost J-Clan apprentice, not helping us. And then I think that he was onto Flamebear because he was eavesdropping on him the moon before it came out. where Swan Song was one of the cats that held him down. He then was giving advice to Micah Shatter, who he shouldn't know was involved in any way, and he does have a positive relationship with her. And then Swan Song murdered his great-grandparent. Yeah, so Swan Song was the cat that killed Thunder Spirit, and that's horrifying. I kind of think it was a misdirected anger moment where Swan Song was just so mad at Flame Bear and decided that Thunder Spirit was in the wrong for not stopping their son sooner. But yeah, this family needs to stop murdering each other. Also, with Cartfluff getting killed by rogues, Swan Song just lost his voice of reason brother, who was a positive force in his life. He still has kin with Stone Star, but yeah, I am kind of concerned with Swan Song in general. This isn't a great situation. But next up is the newly named Micah Shatter, who is now 17 moons old, compassionate, and a lore master. She started as a nervous apprentice, and she got Ghost Snow as her mentor, where she caught a rat on her first day. She was hoping not to train another day, but Ghost Snow really helped her be more confident. The talk with Rushwind also helped her. Micah Shatter seems to focus on other cats' feelings and problems more than her own, and in fact, she was too busy helping another cat in some way, and apparently almost missed her own ceremony. She was named for her insight and felt bad seeing apprentices work to the bone, looking out for Guspaw. When Flame Bear was revealed, she was too scared to come clean herself, but she did defend Gusburst, who understands that Micah Shatter doesn't want to come forward and completely gets that. Micah Shatter is very sad at the murder of both her parents, but she's extra concerned with how her sibling in the nursery is dealing with the loss. And on a less depressing note, she has a crush on Hop and a small dislike towards Rooster Tail, and I think she kind of sees him currently as a romance rival a bit. But as for her sister, she's now Vixenfoot and is a righteous lore keeper. She was apprenticed to Guppy Shade, who helped her practice leaping up a rocky cliff on her first patrol, not going too high and focusing more on working around her depth perception, wanting to make sure she can take care of herself out on the dangerous cliffs. Vixenfoot was honored for her commitment and became a warrior early at 11 moons old. She was also reevaluating her morals the same moon that she was caught touching noses with a cat from J-Clan. Hey, it's not Moss Clan this time! And I personally think they might have been a cat named Bright Shatter who seems to honestly hate being in his clan. Kinda funny that he has the same suffix as Micah Shatter. Vixenfoot is also distressed at the murder of her parents and is trying to be there for both of her siblings. Micah Shatter seems to be hiding something, but Vixenfoot just wants to know that she's okay. Next up is the 15-moon-old newly named Gustburst, who is insecure, a good kid sitter, and a great mediator. This poor baby. Also, I forgot to verbally say last year, but she was born with a stutter, and it gets worse with stress, and you can imagine how that's going right now. She was planning on running away with Spring Haze, but then he was murdered, and she was even more scared. She was apprenticed to Branch Deer, and together they were the ones that found Hop on her first day out, and later she was fighting Tears after missing a catch, but Branch Deer was always there to reassure her. And later she couldn't take it anymore and confessed about Echo Lily's murder to her sister Pebblepaw, and she was absolutely terrified when she just blurted it out during Flamebear's reveal. Like sis, how could you do this to me? She's still really jumpy after Flamebear's murder and was scared by an owl but was too embarrassed to tell anyone. She understands why Micah Shatter hasn't told anyone. I mean, she didn't want to come out with it either. I'm really hoping that Gusburst has a better year now that Flamebear is gone because I feel so bad for her. But moving on to her sister, the newly named Pebblejoy, which is a very cute name. She is thoughtful and a formidable fighter. When she was apprenticed to Lizard Snap, she surprised her mentor at her ceremony by saying that she wanted to grab Moss first. And then when they were out of camp on their first patrol, Pebblepaw told Lizard Snap that she thought she saw a StarClan cat, describing a cat that looked like Spring Haze but was missing an ear, who told her to keep an eye on her family. Lizard Snap told her that sounded like Pricklefleck, who is her grandpa. I did check StarClan that moon to see if anyone mentioned Pebblepaw, and that's how I found out it was Pricklefleck. Following this advice, she focused on her siblings a bit, and she got Guspaw to open up and tell her the truth. Though she then noticed that Flamebear was keeping an eye on her, she felt that she had to reveal it to the clan when Flamebear was getting outed before the Medicine Cat could come up with a lie. She was then given her warrior name late at 13 moons old and was honored for her amity. As for the last of the litter, Little Lion, which is a name I'm absolutely in love with, is a wise, unusually strong fighter who's also a den builder. Being wise is something I think she developed later, though. She was apprenticed to her mom, Gold Dazzle, and stole a rabbit from Viper Clan on her first patrol, something they did twice. I think the incident where a J-Clan warrior was killed made her less reckless, and that's where she began to straighten up her act a bit. Then the whole flame bear situation happened, and she realized her sister was struggling and she had no idea. And then Wigglebutt was killed by rogues in front of her, so she's been kind of having it rough lately. I'm wishing this litter the best in general next year. But moving into the nursery now. The 62-moon-old scavenger is here with her 2 kits. The attention-seeking Pete kit, who is a rare male tortie. We have another boy tortie after Jumpspark. I'm excited. And also the noisy Scrappy kit, who was named via community posts. And Scavenger sure had a year. In order, on the moon she announced kits, she disappeared and came back with a collar. Scavenger, please stop seeing 2 legs, please, I am begging. Then major blood warning in 3, 2, 1. The moon before her kits were born, she was almost killed by a rogue, but Osprey Claw was helping her stand her ground. And the picture is gone now. Osprey Claw was walking in her dreams that moon, so I took that and said that she appeared in that moment instead. Coaching her on the fight, on how to fight dirty, and saying to kill if she needed to. Do anything to protect her kids. Eventually, Fuzzy Flake showed up as backup, chasing off the rogue, and rushed her back to camp. Luckily, the kits were not harmed, and she gave birth without any issues. Unfortunately, Osprey Claw's advice stuck to Scavenger in the worst way, and when her kits went missing one moon, she saw red when the J-Clan cat Evening Eagle was holding Scrappy Kit. She ended up killing the warrior without hearing that he was just trying to help, and Osprey Claw feels guilty. She feels that the only thing she does is get cats killed. The clan understands why Scavenger did what she did, and she does feel some regret, but also shortly before that, it was revealed that Flamebear was evil, and he was killed, and then right after that, rogues invaded and stole a kit after killing Hilfuz. So Scavenger kind of feels like she has a good reason for being on edge and protective with the kits. Guppy Shade is supporting her and hoping things calm down now. Also in the nursery is the 76-moon-old Firefog, who is there with his and Snake Eye's 1 kit, the skittish Rainbow Kit, who is a restless sleeper. Since their surrogate was Firefog's kitty pet kin, I thought it would be adorable if they brought him home being carried in a bow that he can eventually wear. That was the colors of the rainbow that wasn't on his pelt or eyes or anything. Firefog is very proud of his wife and thinks that she's doing an amazing job as head medicine cat, and he's happy that Flamebear is gone. He never got a good vibe from the guy, and he swore that he could feel him glaring at him from across camp sometimes. He's happy to take over most of the kit raising duty while Snake Eye is busy with work, and he seems to be doing great with Rainbow Kit so far. He's also pretty close with Rushwind, which is a fun combination of cats. Unexpected, but a fun duo. And Firefog is also trying to keep an eye on the last member of clan. The 2-moon-old Bossy Berry Kit is the newly orphaned daughter of Hollowstar and Hilfuz. She was born paralyzed, and she has had a traumatic first 2 moons of life. Her parents were murdered, and she was kidnapped by rogues. Luckily, Todd brought her home. Side note, if I didn't roll the status of Todd bringing home a stolen kit on the generator, and a kit was stolen when I generated the events, I would have coded that kit as lost in-game and used that to see if they ever made it back home. But yeah, this poor baby. She seems the closest to Micah Shatter, Vixenfoot, and Firefog so far, but she's only 2 moons old, so she hasn't really had a lot of time to develop clan relationships. But with that, that's year 19 of GalaxyClan. Let's take a look at the other clan's position of power. Leader-wise, we have Stone Star now, but you already heard about her. Thunderstar of Moss Clan isn't doing so good. Let's just say Moss Clan has 2 murderers in their clan right now, and one of the murder victims was a cat that Thunderstar had a crush on. Also, Moss Clan is very overpopulated and is on free pages of cats. Also, they accidentally stole kits when a loner queen saw them and ran away, panicked, leaving behind her 2 kits. So there's that. Blue Star and J-Clan also isn't doing the best. Not only did Galaxy Clan kill Evening Eagle and yell at their apprentice, but Viper Clan did the same thing with another cat. So 2 of their members got murdered by other clans. Also, Blue Star's own apprentice was that young cat I mentioned that is trying to constantly leave. J-Clan had a yellow cough outbreak after Snake Eye asked for some help, and I think that was a coincidence, but it really doesn't help the tension between the clans right now. But on a good note, he and Rat Splinter has kits, so there's that. They're named Tiny Kit and Big Kit, and I love them. In Viper Clan, Serpent Star died of old age, so now we have the underqualified Gardenia Star as leader, who still hasn't had an apprentice. Side note, Snipcloud gave her a life for strength, so that's fun to see. She's been seen touching noses of a kitty pet when Viper Clan hates kitty pets. A lot of her clan doesn't really seem to respect her, and her first deputy got kidnapped by 2 legs. Also, Snipcloud's past apprentice actually ended up murdering another cat, so that's fun. And a J-Clan cat joined Viper Clan to be with their mate. All of these clans are a mess right now. I'm only going over the basics. Deputy-wise, we have Ghost Snow now. And Moss Clan still has Antler Stock, and he had 4 more kits, but 2 of the kits from his past litters died this year, including one that had vitiligo. And he currently is sick with White Cough. Missile Dusk in J-Clan isn't having the best time because she currently has an infected broken bone. Earlier in the year, she went missing for a couple days and came back with a collar, but on a happier note, she has a girlfriend named Bo now. And Viper Clan has Freckleheart now, who I am confirming gets possessed on and off by her great-grandma Frecklespot. So that's bad. She keeps having flip-flopping statuses related to things. One moon, she does something that seems to be rude, and then another moon, she seems to have no idea she did that. So yeah, this girl's getting possessed. The deputy before her was her brother Squirrel Dream, but he got kidnapped by 2 legs, and I think possessed Freckle caused that. She got a collar at one point, but she did get it off, so she wasn't exiled from Viper Clan. And she was also attacked by rats. She got rejected when she asked someone out. A lot of stuff is really going on with this girl. Too much to say here. And Medicine Cat time. Flamebear died, so GalaxyClan's head med is now Snake Eye, and we have Toddpaw too now. Moss Clan at one point had 5 Medicine Cats, but I let Scorch and Valley retire after the insecure Sadie Curl joined with his free kits. And then one of those kits, the responsible Goosepaw, became a Medicine Cat. And Sadie Curl actually seemed jealous of his son on patrol, which isn't the greatest, and I hope that doesn't continue happening. Also, Sporefern murdered someone with Nightshade, so there's another Ginger Med Cat who has killed someone on the loose now. Our Medicine Cats in J-Clan are all the same. Something to point out, though, is Ratsplinter wasn't sure what his mate Bluestar was thinking at one point, and also Ratsplinter's sister Gooseglare died and went to the Dark Forest for a previous secret murder, so Goosepaw's name might be a bit sad for him. And Skipfluff keeps repeatedly saying that she doesn't deserve her name, which makes me sad. Viper Clan-wise, Moon Ember was kidnapped by 2 legs, but luckily, right before that, we found the strict former rogue, Clear Runner, who I also noticed has a small mutual crush on Moon Ember, and I'm hoping she comes back because I'm shipping it. One of the kits in Snipcloud's last litter, the adventurous Storkpaw, also decided to become a med cat after being interested in the myths and stories he heard, most likely from his dad Silvally, who did come out as trans this year, by the way. He's hoping to someday speak to those gone before, most likely his dad Snipcloud and his older med cat brother Pikefleck, who he looks extremely similar to. He's the only one in his litter without a full name, but considering Gardenia Star named them Little Spot and Rattle Flood, when Snipcloud died in a flood being dragged down by Frecklespot, maybe that's for the best that he's not named yet. Mediator-wise, with Thunder Spirit gone, we just have Kale now, and in Moss Clan, they still have Tetra Stripe, who is Elder Age now, and has crushes on many cats, while also having statuses related to wanting to break up couples, so that's interesting. J-Clan still has no mediator, and in Viper Clan, I am so sad because Moss Dreams died, and she was so cute. I loved her so much. We do still have Ochreforn, but looking at their relationship tab, they actually really dislike a lot of cats in their clan, with very few exceptions. One being Gardenia Star, who they platonically love a lot. Gardenia Star does have a one-sided crush on Ochreforn, so we'll see if that happens or not. Right now, it seems platonic on Ochreforn's end. Also, Ochreforn's mom died this year, so that's pretty sad. But yeah, that's a small look into some of the other clans' drama. Year 19 as a whole was very crazy for everyone, and I'm hoping for a calmer one next year, but I kind of doubt that ClanGen will give it to me. There hasn't been a war with any of the clans in a while, so I'm fully expecting that soon, especially with how tense things are with some of the clans. Stone Star really has her paws full, and I feel really bad that she's expecting kits right when her mate is blinded, Hollow Star dies, and she gets thrown into the leader position, but I'm really rooting for her. I also feel really bad for Frost Lycan being manipulated and kind of abused by Silkfur. This man did not think things through at all and got someone else killed. Flamebear is gone, but Swansong seems to be continuing the murder trend, so that's concerning. That bloodline needs to stop murdering each other, please. Also, I'm a little concerned that bloodline-wise, Sleetclove and Beetlebite's traits' only hope of being passed down in the future is now Swansong, who has already killed at only, 17 moons old when he killed. Also, Rushwind is the only one capable of passing down Whispbreeze's traits. So there's that to think about. Some traits might die out, we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm not sure completely when the next video is coming out since this one was late. It's probably going to be the first Sunday of next month, but I'll probably make a community post updating you on the time it will come out. We'll see. I am also going to be trying to make some Pride art, like I said. And I have many links below, including the Rogue Attack Generator, Family Tree, channel Discord, other socials, my Redbubble, etc. And with that said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!